All right, welcome back to another Quiltler 3 tutorial. I know a lot of people have been asking for more tutorials and I've been trying to find time to make them, so here's another one. This one at special request is to simply go over some of the beginning user interface and explain what some of the things do. And so we're going to start here in the community tab, which is the first tab, and you can see here that these are actually, this is content created by the community and published by the community. And so if you wanted to, you could actually go ahead and select one of these items and get a little bit more detail about it. And then you could dive in and you could see more content that that particular user has created. And if you want to, you can import content into your library. And when you do that, it will actually show you all the pieces that will get added to your library from that public piece. So in this case, it uses the half square triangle, and so that cut is going to get imported to my library. And then a whole bunch of fabrics or patterns are going to get added to my library as well. And so I could go ahead and hit confirm import, and it's going to go ahead and add these assets to my own personal library. Sometimes it can take a few moments depending on how much content there is. So that's quilts. If we go to the next tab, you can see that there's fabrics, and a lot of this content is also used in the quilts, and so you'll sometimes see a little bit of crossover there. But you can see that these are all pieces either added by people, or sometimes you end up with these really nice fabrics that are actually added by people who are also selling them. So great opportunity to explore and learn more about brands. Sarah Watts here also has an Instagram, and so you could check that out as well. There is colors, and these are palettes that basically are created, and so when you import a palette, all of these colors get added to your list, and then you can use those in your designs, and a lot of these palettes can be combined to make really nice designs. And then we've got cuts, and if you're not familiar with cuts, they're one of the more complex pieces of the app, but essentially a cut is a way that you create specific designs. And so somebody here has created the star foreground and the star background. And so with that cut, you could imagine you could do some pretty intricate designs with it, where the fabric that's currently in that cut is just a placeholder. And so you could imagine using any of your own fabrics or designs or colors with this design, with this cut, to create some cool designs. And there are other videos that go over how cuts work. I'll be making more in the future that go into more depth. But for now, that's, you can come here and you can browse a lot of different cuts. And one of the most popular ones is the half square triangle, which you might have to scroll down a little bit to get to. Oh, there it is right there. I'm not sure why it didn't show up in the search, but there it is right there. So lots of different stuff, and looks like there's actually not too many public cuts. So I expect that to, oh yeah, it looks like I just had to do a little bit of a refresh. But anyways, so you can always swipe down on any of these views to load the latest content. Now if we go to the next tab, which is the library, we can actually see this quilt that I just imported. And if I tap on that, you can actually see it pulls it open here right in the design view. So I could actually start designing this myself. I could do add my own fabrics here. You can see that I've got that half square triangle that I imported. And then there's also the fabric library, which looks like those fabrics didn't get added to my library. There they are. Sometimes you just have to do a swipe down and refresh. So now if we come back over here and we open this, you'll see that there's the fabric library. So there's still a few bugs with the app that I'm still working out, and obviously that was one of them, where you import a design, and even though it's added to your library, the app hasn't refreshed those yet, and so you kind of have to go and refresh your fabrics to see those. So anyways, I've got all these nice fabrics here, and I could design with them. There is more in-depth tutorials available on actually using the designer, so I won't cover that here. But anyways, please feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you have. And if you want more in-depth tutorials on any specific thing, please let me know. Next is the fabrics. So here are all the fabrics that I have. And by the way, if I'm back in quilts, I can hit that plus button and I can actually create my own quilt. So a lot of different options here that you can start with. And a lot of these things you can edit down the line when you are actually editing the quilt itself as well. And there's presets, so you can kind of select a few presets. I hope to add more presets here, but I thought this was a good base to start with. If we go over to fabrics, you can see these are all the fabrics, and then you can hit the plus button and you can add either a photo. When you hit add photo, it'll ask you if you want to add it from your library or from your camera. You can add all the details here, and you can add your sources so that if you do publish it, then other people can know exactly where to go to get it, any notes that you have, and then if you want to make it public. The other thing you can do is you can hit the bulk mode, and if you do that, you can select multiple photos. And when you do that, then makes it a little bit easier. They all get a prefix, but you can rename them later, and then you can create a palette from that. And I can actually cover palettes here, or presets. When you create a preset, something like this, we can go ahead and select multiple items from that preset, name it, and we'll just call this preset 1, and we'll hit save. And now that I've got this preset created, I could actually come over to this quilt block, or this quilt, this barn quilt, and then I could say, if I come down over to my fabrics, you might have a lot of fabrics, or you might only have a few, but regardless, you might only want to work with just the ones that you have. And so you can choose a preset so that you always have exactly the fabrics that you want. And the same thing can be done with cuts as well as colors. So it really helps to simplify the design process when you're working with multiple quilt projects or multiple photos. Don't be afraid to go back and rewatch some of this. I'm moving a little bit quickly, and definitely ask questions. So that's fabrics, and then colors. We don't have any colors here, but we could go ahead and there's a lot of preset on colors here. And we've got this right here, this bulk add, which kind of lets you select a lot of colors at once, and we can go through a lot of different tones here, kind of just to let you, if you want some good color combinations, that's what these are here for. Or you could definitely just come down here and select the little dot there, and you can kind of play with the color schemes with the RGB, or the red, green, blue, or you can use a spectrum or the grid picker. You can do a lot of different things there. And of course, you can also just enter the hex value down here and change that. And then once you give it a name, we could call this orange. Why not? Then you hit save, and it'll pop up in your colors. So, and then again, you can make a preset. I only have one color, so I'm not going to make a preset with that. But if you have a lot of different colors that you use across different quilt designs, or making presets can be really helpful. And then there's the support tab down here. I am the one that answers these questions. I'm the one that's creating the app. And so feel free to reach out and ask questions. I get to them as quickly as I can. Sometimes it's really fast, and sometimes it takes a little bit, but make sure you turn notifications on. That way you get answers to your questions. And this is actually probably the best place to communicate with me. Emails are fine, but this is a better place because it a dedicated space that you can add photos and take screenshots of things you're seeing. So if you see bugs or you see issues, definitely use the support page here. And the feedback view here, which is kind of a way to specifically request new features or report bugs. You can do that here as well. So my goal is to really make this app awesome, and I want to make it easier to use, more functional, and make sure that you get everything out of it that you put into it. Obviously, there is a bit of a learning curve here, but hopefully these video tutorials will help. So there's also the cuts view, and cuts are one of the more complicated pieces. Like I said, you can make presets, but if I hit the plus button here, you can see that the cut creator pops up here. And it looks like there is a bug in this version that I need to fix. But if you just add a shape, then that goes away. So this version is not quite published yet, so I'll make sure to fix that before I publish it. But anyways, the cut creator is something that a lot of users have figured out how to use, and they do very cool, complicated things, way more complicated than I do or I've done. But this is how you design the cuts of your fabric. So to put it really simply, if you could imagine everything that is not this template fabric is essentially your square, your fabric square, and then everything inside it is the cut that makes it up. So you can make one piece here, and then you can invert that or save it as one cut, and then you can invert that to get the exact opposite of that, and that would technically make up 100% of a square. So anyways, that's a real simple bit about cuts. And that pretty much covers everything. We've gone over cuts, community, support, and then there is obviously there's a whole bunch of information in here. Join our Facebook group, follow us on Instagram, and then you can learn more about myself and my family who've created this app if you want to. No pressure. But this has been a really fun project to work on for us, for me particularly. Definitely a lot of challenging pieces that go into building the quilt designer, but it's something that I think as we continue to get a lot of good feedback from people using the app, yourselves, that we can continue to make it really awesome and make it a lot of fun. So anyways, love to hear from you, and go ahead and like and subscribe this, and don't forget to rate the app because that helps us grow faster. And I hope this was helpful. Please leave a comment.